234 6565. BBC Radio Newcastle, making a difference in the northeast.
Bring it on. We're giving you the opportunity to win a pair of tickets to see Newcastle United face Tottenham Hotspur. It's at St James Park, Sunday afternoon, sold out. Money can't buy these tickets. You've just heard the ref's whistle. Give us a call right now. You are doing that. See all the lights flashing. 0800 234 6565. Calls are free from landlines and mobiles. You'll find the full terms and conditions and privacy notes on our website at bbc.co.uk/BBC Newcastle. If you're listening on demand, the competition will be on. So this is your chance to be at St James's Park this Sunday to see the Mags against the Spurs. Let's go to our first caller. We've got Sarah who's in Gateshead. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning, Alfie.
Good to speak to you. Thank you very much. Good luck with this. Boy, oh boy, this is going to be an electric atmosphere, isn't it?
Absolutely, yes. Thank you. Yeah, I'm
Oh, good.
so nervous for being caller one.
You'll be all right. Here we go. Which current TV One Show presenter signed to Spurs from Newcastle United in 2005?
Jermaine Dennis.
You say Jermaine Dennis. Breathing down your neck is Deborah in Forest Hall, David in Berkeley.
Keep listening. More chances to win. BBC Radio Newcastle will be giving away a pair of tickets to every Newcastle home league game this season.
How does that sound?
Absolutely amazing. My dad is going to be absolutely thrilled. I'm one of 4 daughters, and I'm the only one who's kept the football going, and he's absolutely thrilled.
Oh, it's going to be electric. I mean, this is it. This is the beginning of the new era. So you're
It really, really is.
fantastic. Oh, well, I'm delighted you won. Everyone else who had a go, thank you for calling. We'll do it again. We're giving away tickets for every home game for Sunderland and Newcastle here on BBC Radio Newcastle. And don't forget, if you didn't win the tickets, you can hear full match commentary from 4 on Sunday on BBC Radio Newcastle.
Call free 0800 234 6565. BBC Radio Newcastle.
Friday morning's headlines. Steve Bruce remains as head coach at Newcastle United for now, following one of the biggest weeks in the club's history. Today, he'll speak to the media to give his version of events. The Health Security Agency says 43,000 people may have been given incorrect negative PCR coronavirus test results, mainly in the southwest, and it's suspended testing at a lab in Wolverhampton. And there's been a multi-vehicle crash on the A1 southbound at Berkeley this morning, which means all traffic is being held and there's major congestion.
The sound of the northeast is
Chilly home. The electric blanket went on yesterday.
did it? So it's very cosy.
Yeah.
The Whiskey at Chalmers.
Yeah, and it's Dash. I can't sleep in Chalmers anymore.
Mine off.
Yeah, but you have like dual controls and all. An electric blanket, you've got dual controls.
No, we don't even have. We've got a dog in between us like a poster.
Yes.
It's very own electric blanket. The sound of the northeast is BBC Radio Newcastle.
Many years ago, but when my mum was in her 80s, we took her to Bridgewater Hall in Manchester to see Andy Williams. And we went with friends, and our goddaughter was 9, and my mum was about 83 at the time, and Andy was a similar age. And it was amazing to see all the generations enjoying that concert so much. And I'll never forget my mother's face, and just seeing her, she just turned to me as she was singing along to that particular song, and we just smiled at each other, and it brought back such wonderful memories.
How does that make you feel now, seeing it?
It makes me feel happy, actually. It really does, and that song there's something about it, and I actually have it on my running playlist. I'm very fortunate in that I've done the Great North Run a few times. I did the Dublin Marathon once, and obviously anybody who goes running knows that the songs that they run to really have a particular resonance, and that one is on my playlist. And whenever it comes on, it just makes me smile. And I think of my mother in particular, and I think of my dad, and I just think about all those really important things in life. And that's what's special to me about an individual piece of music like that. I think it's just, in its own way, it's just perfect. And it really always gives me a lift, especially going up hills.
Oh, Andy, what a fantastic story. And it's wonderful to hear something that you can... Was there a point where I'm assuming that your mother is no longer with us?
No, Mum died. She lost her ripe old age of 93, and she died in 2015. But she is always with us, and that's the beauty of it. She was an amazing lady. Lots of wonderful grandchildren, great grandchildren, and she just had time for everybody. She's just one of those people who just always knew what to say at the right time, and that's
just like.
Any news, you'll hear it on Total News at around midday, and then tea time, you'll get a full summary of what's been going on with Total News. That's at 5:30. Our reporter Martin Lindsay has also been catching up with a Newcastle United fan, Andy Fraser, who's been living in the Middle East for the last 15 years and Saudi Arabia for the last 2 years.
When I've been out and about, I've always worn my Newcastle top, but it was only in April and May that people started asking about it. The company I work for, we've got a lot of Saudi interns, so a lot of young guys who are interested in football, they started asking us then. The interest now, it's phenomenal. A year ago, I could go to the supermarket and not be bothered. Now, getting congratulations.
How was the takeover perceived in Saudi then? Was there celebrations as well?
Not celebrations that of the scale of Newcastle, but people coming up to us, especially at work, saying congratulations. There was a big banner put up in the mall in Jeddah, just saying congratulations on the climate of Newcastle.
How is the PIF, Public Investment Fund, perceived over there? What difference does it make to the country?
Massive difference. I mean, PIF, it's where all the public money gets invested. The project I'm on, King Abdullah Financial District, that's a PIF project. They've got projects up and down the country to spend billions. At the moment, the big thing is the 2030 vision. So they're investing a lot in entertainment and sports. They're busy finishing the Formula One street track up in Jeddah, and there's talks of them actually having a Formula One race here in Riyadh next year.
How excited are you for this weekend then? And will you be watching with fellow Newcastle fans or new Newcastle fans over there now, as it seems to be the case?
I'm probably the only Geordie on the compound, but there's lads from Leeds, and there's South African lads, French, German, all a good mix. But I'll have my tune top on and my bucket hat, and yes, let's just say it's going to be a lot happier game than the disaster of the last game.
Some people are maybe uncomfortable that Saudi has links to Newcastle, but given you live in the country, how do you feel about it?
The thing is, if wherever they go, they invest big. The one hopeful thing, which is more than likely, they'll invest in the northeast, which can only be a good thing, not just Newcastle, but the northeast as a region. I mean, it's crying out for investment, you know.
So that match this afternoon, full coverage of course on BBC Newcastle, is on Sunday, but yeah, the press conference with Steve Bruce this afternoon, you will hear any news from that press conference. Your one-stop shop of all your news. And we've had a lot of fun on another subject today, just a little distraction. We're talking about art, but Steph in the news was telling you about Banksy selling this. Well, I think he sold the original, and then it was ruined and it got shredded. It was in the bin. It's sold on for 16 million quid. We didn't know which bank Banksy's in either. We don't know who Banksy is. So, breakfast team, I've been asking people which art or ornament in your house was cheap or worthless, but you can't imagine your house without it. Now, do you remember the pictures of dogs playing snooker?
Yes, yes.
So yes, we had that one. Well, I had it. My mum bought us it for Christmas. I actually thought it was really good. Now it looks terrible.
Looks great.
No, the dogs have tabs. Well, that's cruel.
When Paula had stuff.
I'm playing snooker.
I vaguely remember it.
Yeah. Does anyone remember, and thank you for sending these in, my dad had this green fish in his bathroom for as long as I remember. Then, about a year before he died, I'll never guess what the British Heart Food shop had in. And there's picture two of another one identical. And it's a vase of a fish with its mouth.
Yes, I remember them.
I remember
them as well, yeah.
Does anyone remember? I think this originated from about, when did that song come out? Oh, this year we're off to sunny Spain. And the first people who got package holidays all brought back a wine bottle from Spain that had a separate spout where you could lean back and pour it into your mouth. Now, we never had one of these because we never went to Spain when we were little, but people who did, I thought that was the most amazing thing on earth.
And it's like that is now.
Oh, you people have them in the house still. Phone in this morning if you've got half an hour to phone in if you've got one of these.
You've got an extra spout.
Yes, an extra spout. Or if you've got a carriage clock.
Carriage clock.
Carriage clock.
Used to win them on the generation game, didn't you?
Yes, it was a big retirement present for lots of people. Barry loves his. Thank you for sending us the picture of that one. And the hair win. It wasn't an original, Barry, but nice try. Keep them coming, please. Before 10 o'clock, I want someone to call in with a carriage clock. Or one of them funny bottles from Spain.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
On the BBC Sounds app, on your smart speaker,
Play BBC Radio Newcastle.
and on your radio.
The sound of the northeast is BBC Radio Newcastle.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Your voice of North East News, Stephanie Finn.
Thank you. Good morning. The breaking news this morning, around 43,000 people in England may have been wrongly told their COVID-19 test was negative because of errors at a lab. Testing at the Wolverhampton laboratory is being suspended following an investigation by NHS Test and Trace. It's now contacting those affected to ask them to take another COVID test. Concerns were raised when people had positive lateral flow tests but negative PCR results from the lab. The fans have called for him to go. The media said he would go, but Steve Bruce remains as head coach at Newcastle United for now, following one of the biggest weeks in the club's history. And today, we'll hear from him as he prepares for his 1,000th match as manager. A match most thought he wouldn't get to, following widespread speculation that he'd be sacked by the club's new owners. After taking training all week, he is due to break his silence when he's expected to speak to the media this afternoon at the club's pre-match press conference ahead of the Spurs game. Chris Woff is Newcastle United correspondent for The Athletic. He says there's still a chance Bruce might not be in the dugout on Sunday.
We're going into this press conference this afternoon. As things stand right now, Steve Bruce is going to be facing the media from 1:30, but there is still a small possibility he won't be. There is still a small possibility there could be a change before Sunday. We're now expecting him to be there on Sunday, but I don't know how this press conference is going to go. In some ways, it seems a bit farcical that the man who really can't answer any of the questions won't be put forward.
We'll bring you what Steve Bruce has to say this afternoon on BBC Radio Newcastle. People returning to England from abroad will from a week on Saturday be able to take cheaper lateral flow coronavirus tests instead of the more expensive PCR varieties which are sent to labs. The government says the changes will take effect in time for families returning from half-term breaks. Teachers in the North East are worried about the immense effects missing school has had on children's lives. School leaders have been meeting in Newcastle to discuss the government's new £3 billion catching-up scheme intended to help the most disadvantaged pupils get back the time they lost through the pandemic. Teaching unions say the money isn't enough, but the government says it's part of a wider £50 billion investment in education across the country. John Hardy is the chair of Schools North East.
For some of the children, we're seeing the 2 years that have happened, they've grown, they've got bigger, but it's almost as though their social learning just stopped. And so they haven't encountered children at their own age. They haven't seen how to behave with other adults outside of the family. And lockdown for them has been quite a dramatic social block.
Councillors in the North East have urged the government to continue support for the Tyne Metro in its post-pandemic funding review. Operator Nexus has warned the Metro faces a £19 million funding gap, with passenger numbers still lower than before COVID. A report by the Urban Transport Group says it contributes £290 million to the North East economy. And from today, people can spend £100 with a single tap of a contactless bank card, up from the previous limit of £45. However, retailers say it could take weeks or even months for all payment terminals to be updated so they can process the higher limit.